Hi guys, happy to be back today to show you a new feature about Darktable 5.6 that is upcoming 21st of June. And this new function is still using the integration of AI. You saw in my previous video AI and masking. Right now we'll look at AI and denoising. Here I show you a picture about an image that is shot at 10,000 ISO. You may recognize a picture that I already used a couple of weeks ago now to show the denoise modules in Darktable. I will use the exact same picture to show you the denoise AI module or function of Darktable and still compare it with Lightroom AI function. So you see we have a lot of color noise here in the different areas of the picture. We'll try to fix it with AI. The AI function here for denoising is working a little bit differently than the denoise modules from, I would say, the original Darktable. In the original Darktable 5.4, you will use the denoise module. It's still something that you can use and that you should use for, I would say, light noise picture that is still working perfectly. AI denoise and especially raw AI denoise is to be used for already heavily noised images where you may face some issue for denoising with the standard functions. It's not a module here. It's more a plugin that will basically work on your file, generate a new DNG file, and then you can start to work on your DNG file. For those of you coming up from Lightroom, it's exactly the same than when you press denoise on Lightroom. It will generate a new DNG clean file. Here it's exactly the same. This is, as said, more a plugin for me than a module, so it's working not on the pipeline of the workflow, but really at the very beginning. You can find it on the left here, and there is 3 tabs. There is this raw denoise that is basically working on your raw file from the very beginning, cleaning your file, leaving you with a clean DNG that you can work on later on with your different module, exposure, cropping, AGX, whatever you want to do on the file. Then you have the denoise here function that is working at the end of the pipeline. So usually I would advise you to more work with the raw denoise part. But you can use this denoise function once you want to work on an already processed image. Let's say you worked on an image 10 weeks ago. You want to go back to this image, apply this AI function on the image. If you use the denoise, you will be able basically to make the module model work on the end of the pipeline. You will not need to do again all the work about AGX, cropping and so on. It works at the end of the pipeline. So for me it's really more, I would say, a fix if you want to apply this on already worked on the image. If you start from scratch with a new image, I think the best is to start with the raw denoise that will give you a clean image since the very beginning. Then there is this upscaling function that I will not cover today, that I will cover in another video. So going back to raw denoise, that will be the main focus of this video. Actually, denoise is working almost the same. You can find it in Darkroom here. You can also use it in Lighttable. I'm used to, I would say, work with it on Darkroom. It's doing exactly the same as anyway it's working on the raw file. Before jumping and generating this preview, there is one thing to do is to secure that you activated AI here, going to the settings. For those of you that may have already looked at my previous video on AI masking, you know where to go. It's here almost at the bottom of the list. And what you need to do is 2 things. First thing is to secure that you downloaded the model, actual model, so the denoise NIND and the raw denoise model here. If you plan only to work with raw denoise, you can only download the raw denoise. If you want to test also denoise NIND, you can also use it here. those or those models are trained to do the denoising. Then two things to keep in mind: you need to enable them, and why? It's because you could have different models to work with, like for example for the masking part. So you need to tell Darktable which module you want, or model, sorry, you want to use for this function. Then you also need to activate of course, AI features, otherwise it will not work. Last but not least, for the Mac user like me, I've read a lot of reporting about, I would say, erratic behaviors or weird behaviors when you let Darktable choose which acceleration you would like to use. So the advice is to choose one of them. For me, I've always used the Apple Core ML acceleration. It worked in my different testing, both for AI masking and for this AI denoise. So if it works for you, I think you can still use it like that. I've seen some reporting that those AI functions were taking quite a lot of time previously, especially on the videos that I've seen from April. Now I can tell you that it went really far now, and it has been fixed. For me, all the AI function has been maybe taking up like a few seconds to work, but not more. So it's really, really fast. Now that you activated all of this, you see that you may have still some issue here. So model not available. So I need to double check what I did. Most probably I de-enabled. Yeah, you see here I de-enabled this. So it's not working if you de-tick this part. So now I enable the model. You can just basically tell him, as said, either in here directly in Lighttable or in Darkroom. And then here I will use it in Darkroom. I just click to generate the preview. You see it take a few seconds. By default is rendering a small part here. As I told you, and that as explained at the beginning, it's not working on the pipeline of your module here. So it's not showing up here directly on the big image. It's showing up as a very small preview here that you can zoom in a little bit when you let your mouse over this preview part. Of course, you can change the area you want to look at by just clicking on the small peaking part. So here, for example, I will look here. I've seen some bugs during my testing that this picker will not move, will not work after a couple of times. So usually what I needed to do is basically just to restart Darktable and it would work. I think it's just a bug and that most probably will be fixed in the latest version, so do not really bother with that. As you see, this module or this plugin is not giving so much different control. It's not a complex module. There is basically two things to choose. The most important one is the strengths here that we will look at just after. And then you, of course, need to tell him where you want to register the new DNG that will be generated. By default, it generated where the file is. So it will just add a DNG on top of your raw file that you already have. I leave it like that usually. And then I just look at the preview and then I try to see what will be the best number for these strengths. There is no magical number here, but basically just to walk you through, if you put it at 0, there is nothing applied. And then the more you go on the right to 100%, the more you apply about the model. And then everything in between is just a blend of the two images. So as always with the denoising function, and especially I read it for Lightroom, but I think here we will see exactly the same. It may render a little bit a plasticky, I would say, feeling on your image. You see it on the pumpkin here that it's really, we are losing some details here. If I zoom in on another part that I like to look at usually, this part, for example, you are here having a lot of color noise. The color noise is fantastically gone, as you can see here. But if you leave it to 100%, you feel like you are losing detail as always when you denoise. So it's always about finding the right balance between getting as much detail as possible, and also taking out as much noise as possible of your image. So there is no magic number, honestly. You can try at 80%, and you see here that I gain a little bit more detail without gaining back some noise. I can try to lower it down even to 60 to see a little bit how it goes. You see here at 60, I have still a little bit, I did a little bit of noise here. So maybe somewhere around 70 would be a sweet spot. Here I think we are okay-ish. Honestly, I do not see the biggest difference between the 80. So I would try to use it with 80. I can, of course, always check on another part of the image. For example, here, and you see that here I already get rid of the noise that I had. So I think it's quite good. This is really cleaning up the raw data. So you see it's starting at the very, very beginning of the raw file. It's taking care of the raw data. So I think it's really good because there is nothing applied before. It's straight out of the sensor. It's as if it go back to a baseline of ISO, trying to get the cleanest image as possible, which means that later on you could always, I would say, lift up a little bit the shadow and so on without the risk of gaining back some noise, which is not the case when you work on the different modules in the pipeline on the right. So once you are happy with the strengths, you can just click on process, and as said, it will generate a new DNG file. What does it mean when I say it will generate a new DNG file? That it's really creating a new file that you will see appearing in Lighttable and here on the bottom of the dark room part. I click process, it takes maybe like 5 seconds, also depending on your computer, and then you have a new brand new darkroom file that needs, of course, to be tweaked with the different modules, because you start from scratch once again. But if I apply some zoom here like I had previously, you can see that here I have no more noise. Once again, you see that it's quite quick to generate, so I would advise you, especially at the beginning, to play with it. You can generate some file with a strength at 80, a strength at 60, and you can here look maybe a little bit, I would say, in an easier way than when you look on the small generate preview here. You see you may generate some artifact here on the top of the pumpkin. Bear in mind that it's still a model that is working on the file, so we know there is some caveat into this denoising part. It's really something that is a work, I would say, a work in progress. The model is also improving a lot. So again, look, experience it yourself. Maybe 80 is a little bit too much. Maybe you could work on the 60. There is no, I would say, universal number for everyone. I think it's really more about finding your own way of doing it and finding your own way of working with it. Then I wanted also to cover something before doing a full comparison side by side between the different functions, or between the different, I would say, type of denoising. Once again, back to the denoise part, I just wanted to show you quickly. So this denoise input is really working the same way than before, with the main difference that it will work with the full workflow, full pipeline of different modules. And here you have a different choice of parameters. You can choose, it will export a TIFF file, so you can stay on 16 bytes for the TIFF def. And then the profile here, you can choose which profile, output profile you want to use. For those of you who are a little bit lost with output profile, I will advise you to go to my Instagram export video that it's explaining a little bit the profile output. And last but not least, this is also something that you can work on as soon as our sensors usually are working on a wide gamut colors, meaning that sometimes it's working with out of the spectrum colors. You can here preserve the wide gamut colors, meaning that the denoise will not apply on those extra colors that are not shown in the image. I leave it by default here, and then you can do exactly the same. You generate a new file. You see it taking a little bit of time. Here it's doing almost nothing because it's the file is already denoised. But again, it's if you have worked on something that is already processed via different modules, it can be a great help to try to salvage some of your images that you already have processed months ago. So this was for me the two different, I would say, part of this AI denoise functions that will be integrated in the next release of Darktable 5.6. I will show you right now a comparison between Darktable, I would say normal denoise, the AI denoise here at 80% strength, and the Lightroom part. I will let you choose or make your own judgment about what is better. My take on that is really depending also on the type of images, and it's really depending on the parameters that you put. So I think it's good to test, and I think the developer also highlighted it. The denoise classical function first, then if you are not able to correct and manage this noise, use this raw denoise will help you to clean really the sensor data, I would say from the beginning, before applying a different workflow. And then as of Lightroom, I think the Lightroom function is working really well, and I already tell it in the previous video, but you still need to pay a subscription to make it work, whereas here we are in a fully open source capabilities without any subscription, with a full control about your image and what you want to do with it.